So, if you haven't heard, on Monday, the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS, ruled that Donald Trump is immune from prosecution for acts he committed within his constitutional powers as president. Also, water wet, sky blue, film at 11. Yes. So anybody who didn't think this was going to happen, but it's kind of neat too, because I think it wasn't the usual suspects. There was what's her name? Amy. Here we go. So this was the ruling for, of course, you had Roberts, Clarence, Alito, and Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh as ruling for it, and but then you had Amy Coney Barrett, who's ruling for it too, who is not a conservative, I don't believe. It could be true. And then over here, who were against it was Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, the two liberals, and Ketanji Brown Jackson. So it's basically says U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that former President Trump, or that former presidents cannot be prosecuted for certain official actions during their presidency, but can be prosecuted for private acts. The decision will likely delay Trump's trial on charges of trying to overturn the 2020 election. So we already know that. So what does this mean, right? And I know you're saying, it's electoral politics, dude. What does it matter? None of this matters. It doesn't matter in the fact that you voting means something, but it does matter that you have to pay attention, because it's still business as usual that you have to pay attention to. And, because even though it's may seem fruitless, you have to call out people when they do some really heinous shit. So that's why you have to pay attention, to make sure they're not trying to feed the sheep more dumb shit, and you have to tell the sheep, no, this is bullshit, and this is why. So, does this verdict grant full immunity to a U.S. president? The immunity verdict does not technically place Trump above the law. This is from Al Jazeera, by the way. So, because he and any former president can still be prosecuted for unofficial acts not pertaining to his presidential capacity. So basically, if he's president, it's sky's the limit. But as soon as the next president's sworn in on January 21st, and then Trump goes to a liquor store and holds it up, then they say, we got to get you, buddy. However, our critics argue that in practice, it could grant a former president complete immunity, right? Well, that's the thing. If you're going to do your crimes, you do it as president. Those are the best crimes. Those are the crimes that are going to do the most for you. You're going to do crimes outside of that, you stupid. The SCOTUS opinion grants presumptive immunity, making it difficult to discern between acts committed in a personal or presidential capacity. And many critics say it will be too difficult to differentiate actions by a president in their, quote, personal capacity from those in their, quote, official capacity. Under this court's opinion, the only thing that will stop a president from abusing their powers, their own sense of restraint, and people in the executive branch who may not follow their orders. Chris Edelson, an assistant professor of government at American University, told Al Jazeera, we face the imminent prospect that a would-be dictator could take office if Trump wins the election this fall. All right. Newsflash. I'm going to amend that and say, we face the imminent prospect that another would-be dictator could take office if Trump wins the election. Because we already got one. I wish I could marry coffee. I really do. But that's kind of weird. And we're not here for that. That's for another show. So what does this mean for Trump's election subversion case? Likely, Trump cannot be prosecuted over allegations that he pressured Vice President Mike Pence to reject certification of Biden's win on January 6, 2021. This allegation forms part of the Washington case against Trump. Moreover, he cannot be prosecuted for seeking to pressure the Department of Justice to investigate unfounded claims of election fraud, which also form part of the case. What happens next in the election subversion case? Hey, D, what's going on? Trump's, let's see, what happens next in the election subversion case? Trump's election subversion case goes back to District Judge Tanya Chutkan, hope I said that right, of the lower court in D.C. to determine which acts Trump should be prosecuted for. Contrary to Trump's wishes, SCOTUS did not dismiss his indictment that alleges he illegally schemed to cling to power after losing the election. The indictment was filed on August last year by special counsel Jack Smith. He accuses Trump of 4 felonies, some punishable with up to 20 years in prison. You know that whole story. And if you don't know the whole story, just Google Jack Smith Trump and go down that rabbit hole if you want to. I have no desire to talk about all that. I have no knowledge. I'm just here to give you the news and wear this hat. Besides granting Trump presumptive immunity for pressuring Pence, the conservative SCOTUS judges also truncated the allegation that Trump tried to use the investigative power of the Department of Justice to overturn election results. Judge Chutkan now needs to analyze and determine whether other actions cited in the indictment fall under official conduct for which Trump would be immune from prosecution. So yes, and there was also another case too. I don't have the information here right now, but a lot of the January 6th folks who were charged with felonies are going to be possibly have new trials now. So and we've seen the video of January 6th. Nobody had any weapons, right? Yeah, there was some craziness with the back door shit. I don't know what the fuck that was. But otherwise, people just strolling through there like, you know, it's vacation. Let's take the kids to the, to the House of Representatives. Meanwhile, everybody's like, and they're just, some guy with a buffalo head hat on or whatever.